This is Brett with Muon Video, and today we'll be looking at the Peter McKinnon Variable ND Filter Mist Edition. I've worked with a lot of ND filters over time, and one thing that I really like about variable ND filters is it gives me a bit more flexibility. So with the Peter McKinnon Variable ND Filter, I actually ended up buying this back in 2019. And so far it's been really good. Now with the new variable ND filter, the Mist Edition, I was a little bit interested because I thought to myself, you know, I like diffusion sometimes. I like something that can soften the image a little bit so it's not so sharp and so digital, especially if you're working with models. You know, you don't necessarily want to get every line, every wrinkle, and sometimes you want that softer look. The diffusion effect on this filter is a little bit more natural and a little bit more subtle. If I had to sort of give the diffusion strength a number, I would say it's like a quarter strength. If you come from the diffusion filter world. Something I've noticed is it is a little bit different, not just in terms of the diffusion, but also the way direct sunlight can affect it, or any light for that matter. It has a bit of a flare to it, almost like a yellow or an orange flare. Now let's take a look at some images. Here's a model Zonal that I worked with lately on the Panasonic S5 A7 III shootout video. We're outside of a studio here in Brooklyn, and you can tell I filmed with a 50mm lens without an ND filter, with the first Peter McKinnon Variable ND Filter, and finally with the Variable ND Filter Mist Edition, and you can kind of see how the light's different on each. There's a little bit more flaring on the diffusion than anything else. Now a huge difference between this Variable ND Filter and the previous one is you do get hard stops, which is nice. And it does have a coating on it. You can kind of see, I'll hold this up for the camera, but it's like a goldish, yellowish coating to it. Unfortunately, variable ND filters, especially ones that are particularly good, are not inexpensive. So this variable ND filter runs for an MSRP of $249.99. For me, it goes back to, I used to save money by investing into cheaper variable ND filters. The problem is, if you don't end up paying at first, you'll end up paying later for it, because I ended up having footage on my Tiffin variable ND filter, and I had a bizarre color warp and a bizarre color cast to a lot of footage. I could crop in, or I could try to use a few effects to take out that color warping or color cast, but unfortunately I was a little bit trapped and I had to end up not using the footage at all. If you shoot a lot outdoors and you need a little bit more extension in your camera and lens performance, if you need that, it's very, very good for what you need. So in conclusion, the Peter McKinnon Diffusion Variable ND Filter for me works great because I like to usually film using a very shallow depth of field, keeping the lens wide open, and I do like to film natively at 640 ISO on the Panasonic S series, so it makes sense for my uses. Will it make sense for you? It depends on what your uses are. If you film a lot outdoors and you've come into problems with cheaper variable ND filters before with color casts like I have, it made sense to me, because at the end of the day, I really wanted to get the image the way I wanted to get the image, and the variable ND filter, this particular line, allows me to do that. Well, that about wraps this up. Thank you very much for watching. If you found this video review helpful, please give a like, subscribe to our channel, comment below, let us know what you think, and I will see you in the next video.